Lieutenant General Richard Newton joining us now, NewsNation senior national security contributor and former U.S. Air Force Assistant Vice Chief of Staff. Hamas uses innocent people as shields. They're hiding out in schools. They're hiding out next to mosques. They are in hospitals, according to the IDF. How do you fight an enemy that does not play by the rules?
Well, good morning, Marni. Extraordinarily difficult, as Robert reported, really underscoring the dire situation of, my sources tell me, between 600 and 650 patients in Al-Shifa hospital, as he mentioned. Speaking of the Al-Shifa hospital, I'll try to get to your point here, is that it's no longer really, the focus is not it being a medical facility from Hamas's standpoint. It's really become much broader and a strategic symbol of really showing how Hamas is purportedly are trying to, show that they're standing up to a very powerful force in Israel. The Israel Defense Forces are now literally outside the gates of the hospital. And secondly, it's trying to showcase from Hamas standpoint that there is significant civilian suffering going on, making it seem as if it's at the hands of the Israelis, but it's not. It's really Hamas is using, the patients, the doctors, the medical staff. They're trapped there. It's a siege, and they're using, those innocent civilians as literally human shields. So what that tells us in terms of the nature of war. The way of war now is much more diabolical, much more barbaric, especially when civilians are used as literally targets on a battlefield. When I was at the Air Force Academy, we studied a book called The American Way of War, which kind of came out of World War II, then Korea and Vietnam and so forth. But this, you can just throw that book out the window right now, because this is a whole new different world of war fighting, especially with the suffering of civilians now right in the middle of all that.
Right. And in response to what we're seeing at this hospital, President Biden has called for what he deemed a less intrusive action at the hospitals by Israeli forces. What does that mean militarily?
Well, militarily means that, and I believe Israel will really be, it's a very delicate situation for Israeli ground forces right now. There's three options here. One is Israel could go ahead and, go through the gates of the hospital and effectively, take down the hospital. But that's going to lend itself to, civilian casualties. And then there's dire political and diplomatic consequences of doing that. I don't think that's on the table, frankly. Second is Hamas could just end up leaving because they feel this noose around their neck with Israeli ground forces now, inside of Gaza and actually inside some of the tunnels. They could escape through their network of tunnels and go to the south and South Gaza area. And that's really where their Hamas political leadership, I believe, is located right now. And the third is, as President Biden alluded to, is perhaps they're come up with some negotiated position, a pause that would also include the safe recovery of a portion of the hostages. I think that could be in the cards, but that's not just happening inside of Israel. The United States is playing a leading role there. Certainly Israel is playing a role, but also the likes of the government of Qatar and so forth in the Gulf region is playing a role as well. So that's really where we are right now.
And how does the U.S. and Israel, for that matter, work through the delicate balance of negotiating with Hamas to release Palestinian prisoners, some of which have been accused themselves of terrorism?
That's where these third parties come into play, especially with that small nation, Qatar in the Gulf region, actually is home to, as an extended home to part of the Hamas political leadership and so forth. They are able to negotiate with Hamas all the while. We have a good relationship with Qatar. We've got a major air base there. I've flown out of there. And so that's where it's important that these third party nations play a role that will help bring, maybe some closure to the hostage situation, but it's not going to be a solution, Marty. It's only going to be a partial solution. If we could get 60, 70, 80 perhaps of the hostages out of there are 239 reported right now. That would be a good thing. But this is not going to be an immediate end to this at all. We're talking months, if not a year or two, where this is going to ensue, I'm afraid.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.